Welcome to Faithfully Executed, where we discuss the week's headlines as seen through the eyes of your friendly neighborhood drag queen. I'm Carrie the One. It's Monday, February 3rd, and today we'll be talking about the tariff war between the United States and just about all of our biggest trade partners, the Grammy Awards, and the tragic collision between a passenger jet and a military helicopter in DC. Let's get into it. Listen, it takes a lot of work to put out a podcast every week. I write, record, edit, publish, and promote it entirely by myself, and as a new podcast, I don't have the numbers to bring in big sponsorships and brand deals, but I still have many of the same expenses as the big dogs. I rely on the support of listeners like you to help keep things up and running, and that's where the Club Carry VIPs come in. Powered by Fourth Wall, Club Carry VIP is an easy-to-use, affordable platform that helps keep the lights on while enjoying exclusive bonus content, sneak peeks at upcoming projects, and all the behind-the-scenes tea you can handle. For either $5 or $10 a month, you can help me keep creating content that matters. VIPs even get a cute little discount on all their favorite Carry merch, so don't wait. Join the club now at faithfullyexecuted.com and enjoy the episode.
I, Harry S. Truman.
I, John Fitzgerald Kennedy.
I, Lyndon Baines Johnson.
I, Richard Milhous Nixon.
I, Jimmy Carter.
I, Ronald Reagan.
I, George Herbert Walker Bush.
I, William Jefferson Clinton.
I, George Walker Bush.
I, Barack Hussein Obama.
I, Joseph Robinette Biden Jr.
I, Donald John Trump.
I do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully
execute.
That I will faithfully execute.
And I will faithfully execute.
So help me God.
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 Let's start with the topic that doesn't make me want to gouge my eyeballs out of my head. The 67th Grammy Awards were handed out Sunday night in Los Angeles. Kendrick Lamar and Beyoncé were the big winners of the night. Kendrick took home half of the big four, earning Record of the Year and Song of the Year for his Drake diss track, Not Like Us. He also won Best Rap Song, Best Rap Performance, and Best Music Video. Beyoncé, who extended her record for most nominations and most awards for an artist, finally won her first Album of the Year award for Cowboy Carter after being nominated 4 times previously. She also took home the awards for Best Country Duo or Group Performance for her duet with Miley Cyrus, and Best Country Album also for Cowboy Carter. Beyoncé was notably shut out at the Country Music Association Awards last year, receiving 0 nominations for the album in the face of criticism that Cowboy Carter didn't constitute a true country album. Several artists also took the opportunity to highlight causes and communities important to them during their red carpet and acceptance speeches. Chappell Roan, who has had one of the most meteoric rises to stardom we've seen in recent years, spoke with GLAAD on the red carpet and had this to say about the current state of trans rights in the United States.
It's brutal right now, but trans people have always existed and they will forever exist, and they will never, no matter what happens, take trans joy away, and that has to be protected more than anything, because I would not be here without trans girls. So just know that pop music is thinking about you and cares about you, and I'm trying my best to really stand up for you in every way I can.
Roan would later go on to win the Best New Artist category and used her acceptance speech to call out unfair treatment of artists at the hands of big record labels.
Hello.
Thank you to my fellow nominees whose music got me through this past year. Brat was the best night of my life this year. My hat's gonna fall and it's gonna be okay. Thank you all who listened to get me here today. And Dan and Island Records, Amusement Records, my friends and my family. And above all, my Papa Chappell, who I named myself after. I told myself if I ever won a Grammy and I got to stand up here in front of the most powerful people in music, I would demand that labels and the industry profiting millions of dollars off of artists would offer a livable wage and health care, especially to developing artists. Because I got signed so young. I got signed as a minor, and when I got dropped, I had 0 job experience under my belt, and like most people, I had a difficult time finding a job in the pandemic and could not afford health insurance. It was so devastating to feel so committed to my art and feel so betrayed by the system and so dehumanized to not have health. And if my label would have prioritized artist health, I could have been provided care by a company I was giving everything to. So, record labels need to treat their artists as valuable employees with a livable wage and health insurance and protection. Labels, we got you, but do you got us? Thank you.
Lady Gaga, who dropped the video for a new song entitled Abracadabra from her highly anticipated, by me, 7th studio album Mayhem last night, also reiterated her support for the trans and queer communities as she accepted the award for Best Pop Duo or Group Performance for her collab with Bruno Mars, Die With A Smile.
It is a privilege to be a songwriter and a producer, a musician. It's such an honor to sing for all of you. And I just want to say tonight that trans people are not invisible. Trans people deserve love. The queer community deserves to be lifted up. Music is love. Thank you.
Did you catch the award show last night? Do you have thoughts about the winners? Do you have thoughts about Sabrina Carpenter and how she's basically a drag queen if you think about it? Have you listened to Abracadabra yet? Tell me everything in the comments. Here we go. The deadliest U.S. air disaster since 2001 occurred Wednesday night near Reagan Washington National Airport, when an American Airlines jet carrying 64 people collided with an Army Black Hawk helicopter over the Potomac River. The jet was preparing to land en route from Wichita, and the helicopter was on a training mission. There were no survivors, and the official cause of the accident is still under investigation. While the investigation is ongoing, we do know that there are several concerning anomalies in what we know took place that night. According to the National Transportation Safety Board, data from the jet's flight recorder showed its altitude as 325 feet, plus or minus 25 feet, when the crash happened Wednesday night. Data in the control tower, though, showed the Black Hawk helicopter at 200 feet at the time. Investigators also said that about a second before impact, the jet's flight recorder showed a change in its pitch, but they did not say whether that change in angle meant the pilots were trying to perform an evasive maneuver to avoid the crash. According to an FAA report obtained by the Associated Press, one controller was responsible for helicopter and plane traffic. Those duties are often divided between two people, but the airport typically combines them at 9:30 p.m. as traffic slows. On Wednesday, the supervisor combined them earlier, which the report called, quote, not normal. Here we go. USAID, the U.S. Agency for International Development, is on the cusp of being shut down by DOGE, the nebulous and ironic commission tasked with cutting federal spending and regulation to make the federal government smaller, headed by Elon Musk. USAID is responsible for managing over $50 billion in civilian foreign aid and development assistance. This is a developing story with a lot still unknown to the public, but CNN shared a pretty good rundown of what we know so far.
Breaking overnight, workers at the U.S. Agency for International Development, USAID, in Washington were told to stay home this morning. The main office closed. They received an email shortly after midnight telling them, don't come in. This is the latest development on the future of USAID after both President Trump and, maybe more importantly, Elon Musk said it needed to be shut down.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
All right, let's get to CNN's Jennifer Hansler at the State Department for the latest on this. You helped break this news about the email overnight. What have you learned?
Well, John, this is just the latest in a string of developments that indicate that Trump intends to abolish the U.S. Agency for International Development. We had that notice that went out overnight to employees not to show up to headquarters. You heard those comments from Trump. And as you noted, Musk has also demonized the U.S. Agency for International Development. He has played an outsized role on this administration's decisions on federal agencies. And he hosted a Spaces on X overnight to go after the agency, criticizing it for alleged misuse of funding, and he said that Trump had agreed that it needed to be shut down. Take a listen to what else he said.
As we dug into USAID, it became apparent that what we have here is not an apple with a worm in it, but we have actually just a bowl of worms. And so at the point at which you don't merely, like if you've got an apple and it's got a worm in it, maybe you can take the worm out. But if you've got actually just a bowl of worms, it's hopeless. And USAID is a bowl of worms. Mm-hmm. There is no apple. And when there is no apple, you've just got to basically get rid of the whole thing.
So I should note, John, that he didn't provide a lot of evidence to these claims, but it is the latest signal that U.S. aid is in the administration's target site. Now, Democrats say the abolishment of the agency would not be legal because it was created under statute. It is an independent agency, and they say that Trump cannot just unilaterally choose to fold it under the State Department, which is what his intention is reportedly to be. Now, the State Department has not commented on the developments, but we do also see a number of other troubling signs. Over the weekend, we reported that there was an incident involving DOGE employees from Musk's office, and they went to try to access U.S. aid, and they were blocked, and officials were put on leave for trying to block them from accessing classified information. John?
All right, Jennifer Hansler for us at the State Department. We'll have much more ahead also on USAID and who depends on that funding in those workers. Thank you so much for your reporting on this.
Again, it's important to note that it would not be legal for Trump to unilaterally shut down USAID, but we also know that hasn't stopped him in the past and that many of the levers designed to check his power have been compromised or have failed. I'll be keeping an eye on this as it continues to develop.
Here we go.
This week's main story is the rapidly escalating economic war the Trump administration has launched against Canada, Mexico, and China. As promised, the United States will impose 25% tariffs on most imports from Canada and Mexico, with 10% tariffs on goods from China, beginning Tuesday, February 4th. Trump argues that the move is designed to address the illegal flow of drugs and immigrants across the northern and southern borders of the U.S. and the vast trade deficits that exist between the United States and a number of foreign nations. In a slightly incoherent and somewhat ominous post to his Truth Social account Sunday morning, Trump said the following, mostly in all capital letters. The, quote, tariff lobby, headed by the globalist and always wrong Wall Street Journal, is working hard to justify countries like Canada, Mexico, China, and too many others to name continue the decades-long rip-off of America, both with regard to trade, crime, and poisonous drugs that are allowed to so freely flow into America. Those days are over. The USA has major deficits with Canada, Mexico, and China, and almost all countries, owes $36 trillion, and we're not going to be the, quote, stupid country any longer. Make your product in the USA and there are no tariffs. Why should the United States lose trillions of dollars in subsidizing other countries, and why should those other countries pay a small fraction of the cost of what USA citizens pay for drugs and pharmaceuticals, as an example? This will be the golden age of America. Will there be some pain? Yes, maybe, and maybe not. But we will make America great again, and we'll all be worth the price that must be paid. We are a country that is now being run with common sense, and the results will be spectacular. The import taxes will result in higher prices for a wide range of products. Here are some of the highlights. In 2023, the US imported $69 billion worth of automobiles from Mexico and $37 billion from Canada. We also imported $78 billion in auto parts from Mexico and $20 billion from Canada. The auto industry is particularly integrated across the three countries, with many parts crossing borders multiple times to be manufactured and installed before they are ready to be sold. Canada is far and away the largest supplier of crude oil to the US. Refineries in the Midwest are almost entirely reliant upon Canadian crude, which constituted $90 billion in imports between January and November of 2024. Number 2 is Mexico at $11 billion. TD Economics estimates that the tariffs could push U.S. gasoline prices up by 30 to 70 cents a gallon, with the Midwest likely to see the greatest impact. Tariffs on China will impact an incredibly wide range of goods, as China leads the world in manufacturing. We will likely see impacts to electronics, cell phones, computers, and more. In 2024, the U.S. imported more than $32 billion in toys, games, and sporting goods. For those hoping to find relief at the grocery checkout, don't expect it to come anytime soon with these tariffs. In 2023, Mexico made up over 60% of vegetable imports and 47% of fruits and nuts, adding up to over $45 billion in agricultural products. Farm imports from Canada came to $40 billion. A 25% tariff on these products will likely drive prices up, as grocery stores operate on particularly small margins and cannot withstand the tariffs without passing costs on to the consumer. Watch for potential retaliation against American farmers in particular. During the first Trump administration, China and other Trump tariff targets responded by targeting rural America via tariffs on soybeans and other farm products. Trump spent billions in taxpayer dollars reimbursing farmers for lost sales and business, But those farmers overwhelmingly said they wish that they had an open market to sell their products as opposed to collecting a check from the government.
Here we go, here we go, here we go.
This was a really heavy news week. There were probably 10 other stories that I could have included in this episode, but that's going to do it for this week, folks. If you enjoyed the show, please make sure to leave a review, drop a comment, and share the episode wherever you get your podcasts. Don't forget to leave a review wherever you're listening to the show, follow us on all the socials at FaithfullyXPod, and join the Club Carry VIPs to help keep the lights on and the content flowing. As always, you can find all the links to keep up with me and the podcast at faithfullyexecuted.com. Until next time, I'm Carry the One. Have a good week.